Hi, what's up, people? So I'm gonna entertain you with music for the time being, until we get questions coming in and people joining. So I usually perform by asking the audience, you guys, to give me 3 random words. Somebody give me 3 random words and I'll make a song up on the spot, cause that's what I do. So anybody who feels like throwing something out there, otherwise I'll just make something up. Or I just pick at strings and stuff. But I'm taking questions of all kind, be it personal, be it collective, be it woo-woo world, anything from aliens, history, to crystals, to psychedelics, to all that stuff, how that plays out. So, snails, whales, and stars. Okay. Let's give it a little twist. I'll do the travel, love, and desire with it too. Okay. So, I take a walk in nature, now you know where I shall be. And when we go out, well, we'll walk upon the blue sea. And then I'll see thy best friend walking on by. But then he doesn't walk, and I wonder why. Because he is a snail, going so slow I could see that this could be so pale. But maybe I believe, and then we all see in the distance, all high above the sky, flying as the night, each of us where we be lying. But we saw a whale, a blue kind, and you know it has a tail as it flop on down, back into the ocean down below, where you show. I'll take where you wanna and I'll see. As we go, we travel to the highest bits. Coming now, and I must admit, we won't reach this outer space limit. And you see that there ain't no holding back for you or me. So let's go and take this just a fantasy for endless adventure. Travel, this love is desire, drawing us in the fire, burning as it's just so passionate. And then we'll go on beyond Mars and see the planet of the red dust, and the way that we can be so like the rust and take and find all you see like clementines and the fruit that hanging high from the tree. Then we'll go in as we wander upon the stars beyond us, as we say it will be infinitely existing between you and me in the present. Yes, we'll be. And then we'll see that these chapters of our life are just like the scars upon us when the tree rings a playing. Now you know that you could be the one thing that considered king in all the land as you could best. We always wonder where we're heading, but now I must confess, these little things are coming all around you in synchronistic moments that have chosen to grace upon your awareness here in this present. Don't take it for the time you have, cause you cannot give it back, so give and live upon the heart that stays inside your heart. Cause each of us will play a role and bring tomorrow here into the present. Now you know that I must insist that we can be here every day, doing what we love in every creative way, an expression of our soulful being. And you will say that how is this that we are so loved. Okay, so I'm doing songs and stuff, but I'm also welcoming any questions of any sort, of any kind, to come here, and I'm gonna upload this to YouTube afterwards. So whatever questions come up are gonna go into the collective. So let's see what's coming up so far in the comments, because I was totally in my zone of music. So let's see, something about psychedelics, just whatever you want to share, please. I can do that in song form too. This is amazing. So since there's no questions as of yet, wait, what's this one? I'm a beautiful soul. My soul is a soul, and I just love being me. But everyone's a beautiful soul. They just gotta live it. So let's see. I'll do the whole song on psychedelics if we got no questions coming in. If anybody wants to throw some, I guess any topics and stuff like that too that are more geared towards like the consciousness, feel free to ask about. Or if you want them to be in like a song form, say that too. How long do you grow my hair? I haven't cut my hair in probably since 2013. And at that point, at 2013, I shaved my hair to have like a mohawk. And since then, it's grown to about this length. It's still growing. I don't plan on cutting it anytime soon, but that's how like I'm flowing. When did I start playing my guitar? My dad taught me when I was very little. He's very big in guitars. He has like so many guitars. But my first song was like Sunshine of My Love. I got a capo on right now, so it doesn't sound like it. But I was taught when I was young. So I developed off that, then I learned chords and stuff like that. Now I can't do cover songs that great, but I can make up a song on the spot because I know all the chords and I can make it up and I can have a flow. And that's always been my thing. In college I used to perform and do all that stuff. So like I'll go up on stage and just ask the audience, hey, what's up? Give me some words, and that's how it happens. I am you, we are we, yes we all, yes we be. So let's see, song, yes. Do you ever get really angry or hate somebody? Nah, I don't have that anger. As a kid, I used to have some anger, but I never took anger out on people. It was always on inanimate objects. But that anger was like genetics. Because like my parents would get angry here and there and stuff like that. So like I had to heal that early on. But over time, like that dissipated because I did so much healing work. So I don't really get angry and like stuff like that. When stuff like doesn't work out, I'm like, oh, universe, I see what you're doing there. Or like, I get what's going on. But I don't get like anger. Or I definitely don't hate. I don't hate anybody. I don't have that sort of beef. I'm too optimistic. What inspires me? Oh, I'm inspired by just about anything. Any art-wise, if I resonate with something, like for example an image, the way something's composed, I love symbolism and I love anything that has a story behind it that can tell it without just saying like this is the story. That stuff is like my key because most of my stuff in my tarot cards and my other artwork is I embed symbolism. I embed stories and visuals and storytelling through visuals because visuals is my native language. Like I consider English as like my second language because I'm just not a pro at it. But in a sense, my visual key is how my brain works, is how I visualize things. Like I see things in my head. How I convey them into English is just me translating it. So that's how that works. Are you interested in astral projection? Yeah, I'm always interested in that. I astral project here and there, but I mean, I've astral projected before, but it's not something I do often. I do a lot of dream work and stuff like that, so that goes there. I do the same with piano. Oh, I love doing that. I just wing it piano. I usually have somebody play, and I just can add anything to any song. But I can't, like, read music and say, like, okay, we're going to do, like, Moonlight Sonata. I can't do that crazy stuff, even though I can appreciate it and love it all the same. One of the things I'm actually good at, too, is just, like, if something's playing, like, I'll make up lyrics on the spot. But let's see, what other comments are coming in? Yeah, I'm terrible at reading music, too, so, yeah. I'm not a violinist, but I love the violin. Like, I love string. I have so much music of, like, string quartets doing all sorts of stuff because I just love violin. That's just, like, my jam. People will be like, yo, what's your jam? It's like, the violin. Okay, let's see what other questions coming in. How can you hate when you understand? Exactly! That's the whole point. When you understand, that puts you in perspective to just say, like, okay, I can relate, I can connect, I can see where you're coming from. That's understanding. The more people can understand one another, the more we can all get along in one way. Symbolism is life. Of course it is. I love symbolism because everything is a symbolic, be it the synchronicities of just, like, the numbers that come up on your screen, the time, the way things work out, just the messages that come into being, the animals that you pass, all of it is symbolic in one form or another because that's the universe expressing itself in that moment, ever exchanging in the way of just presence happening one after the other as we exist within them. Do I speak another language? Not really. I tried taking Spanish at one point in time, but all I got was like, hola, gracias. Now, the thing is, I can sound like I speak another language, but it's just gibberish. But that's only because, like, I can do, like, the whole impression thing, which, I dabble in that, but, I'm not a pro. I can't do like celebrity impressions, but I do have quite the range. My favorite color. As a kid, it's always been green, but I guess nowadays it's like nature. So it's like greens, browns, stuff like that. I guess I love black and white. When I do art, black and white is my go-to because you can capture so much just by that alone, and then I build all of that. So I guess like black and white in its own thing. Like I love like black and white stripes. Like most of the clothes I wear, it's like either black or white in sense. So I don't know if you consider that a color. It's like more of the absence of color. I did a lot of color theory stuff, so like I can go into like specifics. Do you believe humans are genetically experienced created by an advanced race? I believe that's a very high possibility of being. I cannot confirm that, but at the same time too, there's definitely genetics that we've given from all around to bring us into the way we're being. And I think at one time too, we had like psychic connections and all that, but we lost all that as we fell because our consciousness was not able to be obtained in the electromagnetic field of our bodies because of the earth being disrupted, the energies that were available to us, and just the way things play out, which is why we had that whole dipping culture. And then we had to rise again. So like, I'm sure they're going to come out, especially in Antarctica, about all the ancient civilizations and their association with resonant technology. So like, you can have a certain audio tone, just like Edward Sheenikin. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's the guy who did Coral Castle. He uses the same like pyramid tech of just frequencies to make things happen, and you can do that with your body, healing, all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely some advanced technologies way before us, and we're gonna find more about them and bring them into reality. And we're gonna do it at just like an open source scale, where it's gonna be not like government kind of like issuing it. It's more like people are going to dabble and discover it and go like all that stuff that Tesla was into. Now Tesla, that guy knows what's up. So okay, earlier your video ended and I want to say thank you for answering my questions and being so honest with us. I love being honest. I cannot not be honest. So my honesty is my gift to you. It's my gift of my being in the present moment, and if that comes into your awareness for whatever case it does, may it bless you on your journey and may it assist you in one way or form to provide you with inspiration that makes anything possible. So just do you the best you can. And yeah, blessings right back at you. And all of you who are here in this moment now, you all receive blessings because that's what universe decides to say. So yeah, what else is going to happen here? Same dude. First contact is coming. Contact has been here for a long time, yo. We just don't acknowledge it, and I think it's on the scale of individual perspective, because I even personally have seen a UFO, and I know people who've had experiences, but it's going to be the collective acceptance, not the disclosure. The disclosure itself is just what people want to say, but I think it's less about people telling us what is and us deciding for ourselves. So that's going to happen. I can't see like them coming out with disclosure unless they go into like the government facilities and stuff like that, because the deep state, the government, all those black projects, they've known about this stuff, they've worked about it. There's so much companies out there that do reverse engineering of the technology they've acquired, and there's so many actual like off-earth, I guess, ships and stuff like that that are actually happening and occurring. It's just to the public knowledge is a whole different story, because then they also have to like admit so many other stuff that happened. The whole inner Earth thing, I think there's tons of caverns. There's a portion of in time where Earth itself was inhabited by massive caverns of people who lived in them, and they did so for multiple generations. And you'll find those remnants like under the Sphinx, in like the Grand Canyon. There's talks, if you go into the actual lore of the Native people, not just for like Native Americans, since I'm American, but like all around the world, the stories go from that we actually have to go in there and be it to some sort of cosmic influence that, like, let's say that the oxygen got depleted or something like that, or the sun was just too hot and it was like killing things off or sending things into an ice age or whatnot. It was just a sanctuary for us to continue on and forward. So yeah, there's that whole inner Earth, and I think Antarctica has a very huge role to play in stuff coming out. So I don't know anyone who's like super into the woo-woo world, which is like all that stuff associated to it. But you're definitely going to see so much stuff coming out of Antarctica, so much commotion there, all the people who's been visiting, and there's going to be a lot more companies who are actually going to go down there for those specific reasons, and there's going to be more leaks all throughout this year. I don't know if anyone actually knows who Cliff High is. He does this Webbot report where he analyzes all the information that comes out on the web. of people posting stuff, and he's able to draw on that. And in a way, we're all psychic, so when we express something in present being, you're able to see the emotional tones that could come out for something in the future. And a lot of his data based on that is saying that in the coming months we're going to see a lot more on Antarctica. You're going to see a lot more happening of information coming out, how it's coming out, what's it associated with, the crystal technology. All that stuff is going to come out and eventually be incorporated, because they're going to have to bring this stuff out. There's no more hiding it back, and the deep state itself is like at a war in faction at the moment, where they're torn, and what they're going to do to weaken the other factions is to reveal truth and drop these bombs and do these leaks. And the more and more of that stuff is going to come out, you're eventually going to get to a point where, like, in his report, even like the Chinese government is going to have to come out and say, like, we know about these aliens, we know about this Antarctica and these previous civilizations, and we have to address these issues, and we're going to bring this technology. And as we come to understand it more, it's going to be done on a massive scale. So, like, people can actually work on this technology. And I say years from now. And, like, within 6 years from now, we're going to have this technology readily available. America's going to lag behind because we got our own shiz to deal with. And in these coming months and years, I should say, we got a lot of earth changes because we're going into like a mini ice age. So there's a lot of earth changes. People notice the weather right now is like being more spontaneous, and not only spontaneous but extreme. Like, it will go like really high and then really low. And I've seen that like 2-week spurts. The stuff with the polar vortex, that's an example of just like jet streams being torn off and stuff like that. So the earth is changing, and we're changing with it. So that's totally happening. So let's see, I'm going to go back to comments. So any questions and stuff like that, feel free to ask them, and I'm going to address them because I honor all the comments that come in our way. So let's see. Agatha, indeed, it's been slow disclosure. Disclosure, like I said, totally perspective-wise. Do I think animals are sentient beings? Thoughts on veganism and cruelty-free lifestyle? I'm definitely vegan, so I can speak upon that. I believe animals themselves have their own sentient being, not as much as the humans, but at the same time, they have a collective. Like, humans have a collective, but their animals themselves are so in tune to collective. Like, why birds can fly together and understand the magnetics of being linked. And they understand the magnetics because they're so in tune to nature. We so are divided by it because of the generations of just pushing away. And the egoic mind that we decide to have and kind of dictate the way we do things. So on that terms, I find that if you are eating meat, if you're eating anything in general, you should understand where it's coming from. Most of the stuff being put out there, including like the meats and stuff, all these animals are like being harmed. They're like being abused, and that emotional gets stored in the DNA, that emotion, their harm, their fear, their decide not to die. Most of these animals are being bred, force bred, and stuffed in these small containments, and their child's being taken away. If you have a child and that child gets taken away from you, you're going to have some heartache, and that's going to get stored in that. So that quality is just going to be stored, and anything you eat in general becomes a part of you. So as you eat like a pig or a cow, you are ingesting that DNA, and that is becoming a part of you. And those traits can be expressed through you in one way or another. So the more that you can be conscious and aware of what you eat, that's going to make a huge difference in how you are, because that plays a role. It's like living with the ego. You cannot kill the ego. You cannot eliminate the ego, but you can learn to live with it, no differently than your body. You can learn to live with it and adapt, but your adaptation is up to you to choice and what you do in that moment. So like if you have something wrong with you, like you are harmed, or like for example extremism, you got cancer, you can actually eat food and you can adapt your body to provide itself enough energy so that the body itself can heal, because we have that power, we have that potential. We are living beings. We ourselves within 7 years are not the same selves that were 7 years prior. It's always changing, it's always adapting, so we can use that. Our bodies are vessels. We are made of like billions and trillions of cells. So we are working with them, and we can provide them. We're just the conscious being acting through the vessel, because we're like the collective. The collective consciousness for all our humans are able to express itself on the things that we are experiencing. But at the same time too, it's the individual that is building these all together. No differently than the individual cell is building our own body and environment. So if something's like off on the as above, so below, you're going to see it one way or another, because it's going to express itself, because that's how universe likes to play. So a cruelty-free lifestyle, definitely. Be conscious of where and what you put in your body. On top of that, understand where it's coming from and what it's been through, because that's a lot of things people just don't consider. But I just don't think their awareness is able to take in that form, because they are just so cut off from the surface of understanding that. Understanding is the key, because without understanding, you're not able to make that link, make that connection externally to you, because you got to bring it in. And then even understand is just like wordplay, because it's really understanding, because you take it within and understand through in. And at the same time too, use your intuition, what resonates right. And as you get more in tune to your body and to nature itself, you'll be able to have that assist you on your way. Antarctica is going to happen first. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening there. Do I experience ASMR? Is that like the audio stuff that's like there? I'm not sure what exactly that may be, so you might need to elaborate on that. Of course, animals are sentient. Yeah, totally. Your gift in the present moment has inspired many, and within will continue to inspire. Yeah, present moment allows us to plant seeds, be it a smile on the street that can spread throughout all sorts of people through the conscious actions of them being inspired. So keep that going and keep being true to yourself, because you birthed it in others and inspire them to take that path. So yeah, totally. The CIA is definitely deep. It's just a surface level what the CIA is. Lemuria, yeah, that totally goes back. They deal with crystals. They had a role and stuff like that. I think they're more geared to actually being towards Antarctica. I've seen some stuff on the Akashic records that go into that. What zodiac sign are you most compatible with? I don't really know, because my zodiac in general, or I should say my astrological natal chart in general, is so balanced on the elements that I'm a little bit of everything. And like, for example, like my sun sign is Sagittarius, but my rising is Gemini, and their polarity. So like even them create like a conflict that allows balance in the middle. So I'm very adaptive, because I'm a mutable sign, so I adapt easily to what comes my way. So it really comes down more towards the individual people, since the sun signs, the planets, they all play a role, as well as the awareness of that person and what path they're on and what they can bring to the world. Because relationships form because we bring each other something into being. Be it a lesson, be it something that we're lacking, be it something that can balance ourselves out. But universe creates that in a natural flow. Let's see. Entry according to Bird is in Antarctica and North Pole. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Admiral Byrd is like one of those people that has brought information out, but there's a lot of information out there that has to be tested. You can say it's a possibility and a potential, but there are some things like, for example, channeling, that you can only give as much credit as consideration, because at that same time they give up the free will to put that information through, and where that information coming from is another aspect, because there's a lot of information out there that's used to just control and like gear people off path. Like, for example, the flat earth, that has been used, and that's connected to actual deep state psyops to bring people in the alternative media off the actual beaten path. And because it's not something that can be proved, it's something that just is debated about and create divide in people. So let's see, how involved are you in Eastern philosophy? That is my philosophy. What I mean by this is the concept of chi energy, chakra, auras, such. Yeah, I'm into all that stuff. Chi, we definitely have chi. Chi exists all around. There's the chi within us, there's the chi from the cosmos, and then there's the chi coming from the earth. So there's all that stuff. Even feng shui, I bring all these things into practice. I use my chakras. Not only do I align my chakras, and I work on that using visualization, but then I also use like the Kabbalistic method, because going back to that also is an energetic center and use. And as we put thoughts towards something, that takes on a life of its own. So that included our auras are connected to electromagnetic fields. We have and emit our own electromagnetic fields, which is why things like Wi-Fi and cell phones actually interfere with that. It's not in the sense that it eliminates it, it just creates resistance, because, for example, you can have multiple things existing at once. I heard one story where someone had this real bright light, and there's this person who has these sightings with the Sasquatch people in their tribe. And when they shine the light on them, they have a hard time materialization, because of the fact that the light is taking up so much energy in that moment right there. So yeah, that stuff plays a role. Let's see, what else question-wise? Thank you, salute. The trauma goes in your body. Yeah, anything that we put that's external and receives trauma, we accept. So that's just not on the food level, but it's also on the collective level. Or like we connect to an energy or someone who has trauma, we take on that trauma, which is why it's important to cut cords. I like to do a visualization where I picture like somebody who I know I've interacted with, and I'll picture them in front of me and seeing like a golden link, and I cut that golden link, and that allows that to release and not be stored, because most of us, we're held back by a lot of emotions stored in our gut alone. So we carry a lot of these emotions, these trauma, and there's a lot of trauma just on the collective in general, and even generations from long ago. So we got to heal that trauma, be it on the individual level to influence that collective level. So we got to all play our part. Alchemy. I love alchemy. I do a lot of alchemy. I find alchemy to be more about the resonance. It's like a spectrum. Like how you can see light as a spectrum, everything exists on that certain tone, that certain frequency, that certain resonance. For example, herbs have a role in counteracting something because of them holding some sort of resonance within their structure that can do that. It's like a shaman being able to understand what medicine or what plants can do what and can help with this and that, because everything's a resonance. My body's like that. So let's see, other things. Alchemy, indeed. Do you mean the chakra imbalance when you say that? Chakra imbalance is like your chakras are going to exist, and when they're not treated or if they don't have a flow, they're going to be off. And when you're trying to flow, it's going to like offer more resistance. So yeah, that's when a chakra is imbalanced and your energy is funny, and it can be expressed, be it pain or something in your body happening. So yeah, that's totally doable and exists. About as above so below. Yeah, everything exists as above so below. That's my go-to, because if you're something that is expressing itself, it can be healed on an external matter, or it can be healed on a metaphysical manner. So you're able to work things on however part. Like for example, if I hurt my finger, your finger's connected to something that could be happening in your life, and that's how it expresses itself. So it's like a as above so below, but everything that comes into being is a lesson. So if you get injured or something happens to you, universe decides to say, hey, you're going to have this experience because there's something that you need to heal, there's something you need to address, there's something that you need to go back to. So that's where that comes into play. Yeah, SMR is the sensation normally triggered by audio and sometimes visual stuff. I don't do too much audio stuff. I do binaural beats. Sometimes I do isometric tones because if I can't fall asleep, I'll throw them on. At one point in time, I used to subtly use them. And I did a practice for one point in time where I had an outer body experience just through having like the binaural beats in your ears, because how that works is it sends one tone here and another tone here, and they're both slightly off in one way or another. But when they reach the center, they link up and they form that normal tone because of the neutralization point. So that's what triggers our body to allow a resonance. Now, there's going to be technology coming out where we're able to tune to resonance just by that. There's machines out currently that allow for a certain vibration, like actual vibration, and that could also play a role, but what I'm talking about more is like a frequency, a tone. And those tone technologies, I guess, the audio is using universal's natural way of expression through like its core aspects to bring about healing or balance, or if your chakras are off, you can align your chakras that way or allow something to detox. Like in a way, there's a technology that will eventually come out that you can use the same way to send a frequency into the earth, and you can melt certain metals just by their aspect and tone of frequency to fall out and leak into for collection. And you can extract metals that way and certain things. That's a lot of stuff that's going towards like last civilization tech that's associated with more like pyramids and stuff. Love my mind. Yes, my mind is great, but my soul is better. So you allow that to go through you and use your mind as a tool to assist you on your path. I'm glad you guys can resonate. Utilize information from all aspects of life. I'm a polymath, so I'm interested in so much, so I combine it all together, which is why I don't have one medium for those who've seen all the stuff I could do, or at least could do in the present moment. Let's see. Boeing, were you listening to the binaural beats to feel the way you felt? I know all experiences is different, just curious. I don't use binaural beats on the sense to feel a certain way. I have used them and tested them in some ways, but it's not like dictating because it's just one influence. So it's like eating a certain food. I can put that in, but there's other things playing a role too. So it's like my alignment, everything being good. Like, for example, my outer body experience was just something that I was meant to experience at that same time. My body was in the right state. I had the right influence. I had everything just go right. It just worked out. And that happened to me on my first lucid dream. I I mean, I aligned crystals and everything, and I hit the tone. And my first lucid dream was when I laid crystals underneath the mattress for the first time and wanted to lucid dream. And I had that experience, and it was crazy. But at that same time, too, trying to have that experience happen again with those same actions is likely undoable unless I get myself to a point or a state that can allow that frequency or consciousness to go through and reach into that dimension. Because some of the times, like for example, when we see a sighting or something in the sky, we're able to have that experience because the universe wants us to have something to let us know, to give these little things, no differently than a synchronicity. It's just the form we're able to take them or receive them. So that comes and goes. How long was I listening to binaural beats? Usually when I fall asleep, I just have it play for 8 hours, and that usually gets me to sleep pretty easily. But for the outer body experience, it was just practicing with them over a course of, like, let's say a week. And that brought about that experience. So that's something that was like, it's not like I was listening to it for a long period of time. It was like I got comfortable, allowed my body to rest, and I allowed the energies to flow through. I opened up any blockages, and it just kind of happened. Like, for example, one time too, like I would lay down during a meditation and I'd step into a vision, and it was like clear as day, and I'd see it, and it was like the whole astral realm thing, half dream thing. But it was like at that point in time, I was meant to experience that no differently than a dream. If you dream and you don't remember your dreams, and you have a dream you just instantly remember so well, that was gifted to your awareness and has importance to it. That's kind of how we attract certain experiences based on the path we're on. Sometimes we're not meant to have something until later on. So it's like on a scale that's outside of us that we can actually comprehend. Some of us can't have that experience just yet because we're not fated to. It's like a destiny kind of roll the dice kind of play. Your thoughts on angels. I find angels, I actually didn't think too much of angels because I always associated them with Bible stuff and religion aspects. But then I came across somebody who worked with like angel cards and angels and stuff like that. And I came over a period of time of not only learning their resonance, but it seems to be how we give like a planet an archetype and says like this planet's known for this, this, and this. That is the same play that we do on angels, because angels are all given in like a different directions, a different resonance, different spectrum. And if you consider like all around us, the zodiac, if you take 360 degrees, there's an angel for each of them, just like the Sabian symbols. And it's not like you can define that this is a person existing in that conscious awareness. Now, like, let's for example say like Archangel Michael. If you take that, and if you have enough people providing thought forms to tell it exists on some plane. It might not be here, but it exists somewhere. And that's what a lot of people do who are channeling. They channel some of that energy. So that's why like channeling's iffy, because it's really based on the people and what they're actually like saying. Because it's less about the identity. It's not who, it's what. What is coming through? What is that information? How are you expressing that information? How are you translating it? How are you bringing it about? So angels do that same degree, because like some just have a natural resonance of like no differently than a stone has a natural resonance. So that's how I associate them on entities in general. Now I actually did work for like somebody who did channeling at one time, but I drifted away because I found out that I just didn't resonate, because they forfeited their own energy to allow somebody else to take over, and that energy itself allowed that entity to take place. Now, the people who I worked with directly on like their life path, they were nice people, and I don't have a problem with. But the thing is, I have an issue with authority in general. It's the people they channel and who they allow, because some people can be deceived, and there's a lot of deception out there. Like, I think a majority of channeling is not what they think it is. They understand that something's coming through, but what that is something that they can't vouch for. They can associate it with something, and they'll hear that it's something, but it's not always what it says it is, because there's a lot of entities out there, no differently than humans. There's a spectrum of both good and bad, and people have that free will. So if an entity is trying to channel through you, they can act nice. That potential is there. Not saying that everybody who channels has this experience, but there's just some things that like some people are connecting to resonance, some people are connecting to entities. Entities can exist on a form of an actual physical existence. They can exist as a thought form collective of just so many people or identities being collected into this form that it takes a life of its own. It can be an astral being. It could be a resonance of a being beyond that, like a higher self. entities exist in all forms. I think most of the people, or not people, most of the beings that exist, like aliens and UFOs that are falling into that category, these external beings, they exist on different realms, not just different places, different realms. So they're able to have that conscious connection, that energetic connection that we aren't able to see them. It's like the paranormal, where you can see the earth and then there's a layer of the earth that is similar to it, where what you consider ghosts and spirits who have not left the earth, that's the plane they exist on. They are able to perceive all around them, but we're not able to perceive them. So there's different realms, there's different planes, and all that has a layer and a purpose in one way or another based on the resonance of the actual beings themselves. So let's see. Any other questions, topics, any stuff like that? I might be wrapping it up soon so I can have some sort of grub to eat. I haven't eaten quite some time, so my body's like, hey, feed me. So any other questions? I see some numbers dwindling and whatnot, so if everyone's heading out, I'll wrap things up. Take a moment just to see if there's anything else that has to come through from you guys to influence and help this. And for those who are still here and missed the earlier, I will be uploading this stuff to YouTube. So if there's anything like that you'd like to discover and see more of, just check it out there. I'll probably have it up there either today or tomorrow, depending on the upload time and how that flows. What time is it here? It is, I believe, might be a little after 5. I have no idea. I'm bad at telling the time. It's 5:24 p.m., which I guess is the equivalent of, I do the 12-hour time. So I guess that's man, I'm bad at that. 18:24, I guess would be it. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. Do I practice magic or dabble in the occult stuff? Depends on the magic, because everything is a magic to a degree. It's how you tune in, put that intention in. I guess you can consider I do magic, but I see magic not in the definition of just forcing something to happen, but it's more like working with the universe and allowing these resonances to assist things. Like a new moon attention is technically magic. How you do that is up to you. You can use crystals and all that, but they are all considered some form of magic or another, because it has such a broad spectrum. Hi, person who just joined. Let's see. Thanks so much for sharing yourself. I'm glad. I will be doing live sessions more often, so keep an eye out. Sending love as always, and I'm doing that through my being to you as well, and to all those who are able to get that reach. What do I think about nanobiotech? I believe that there's a lot of stuff out there, including this nanobiotech, that's more about this transhumanistic way of trying to implant stuff and putting in your body, no different than pesticides. Because there's all these modifications that they don't tell you about. That, for example, genetically modified foods definitely are adjusted, but they're adjusted to take on more pesticide. And when you have this pesticide, that's just like putting something in your body. Now, I think there's a lot of studies and stuff going on in these same agricultural industry companies that go to this nanotech. But I think the nanotech itself is more towards deep state stuff. I can't see them making that on a mass scale. I know there's stuff like Magellans and black goo and stuff like that that's also associated with that stuff. So it's hard to say, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's mixed on it. I can probably elaborate on that another day. How old am I? I'm 26. So I've had 26 years around the sun, and I will be 27 on December 3rd of this year. So yeah, I'm a Sagittarian, sun sign. Let's see. Magic, transmuting of energy. Yes, exactly. And you can do that on a conscious level. You can do that within the body. You can do that. I can take energy that's out there and I can use it to my advantage. And I think that's astrology itself. When you understand the resonance of what's going on, you can use that to your advantage to understand what path you are on. What is meant to experience, what is great for healing. There's times where I know, okay, I know today I'm not going to be great, but today's a great for a social day. So it's just naturally we live these things unconsciously. So whether we see it or not, it's being expressed. And that's how universe does that stuff. So today's a great day for me to be social, which is why I guess I was so naturally geared to do one of these live things. So that plays a do. What do I do for a living? I do a lot of stuff, but majority of my finances come from clients, because I do design work, I do websites, I do illustrations, and I do that for clients for their businesses, but I only do it for people I resonate with. So I don't do it for companies, but if you're working with crystals or doing something like that, I tend to do for like the indie business person, because that's who I am. And I'd like to support that, because that's my movement. That's like saying, I will support another artist with my gifts to help you with your gifts, to present you and allow your resonance to extend itself. So that's what I tend to do. And then aside from client work, I also do, I have earth crafts and prints and illustrations online. So I sell my art too. So my art is basically my driving force of what I do for a living. But I kind of live for a living. But I stay true in all ways. Thanks for answering questions. My pleasure. You live for a living. Yes, I do. Definitely. You hit that spot before I even recognized that comment. So I'll give you that one. That's awesome. What we need more of in the world. Yes, I think more people should be true to themselves, because the more true you are, the more you can carry that and you can give that to other people. So with that, I'm likely going to wrap things up. Any final questions? I'll take them right now. Otherwise, we're going to say thank you, everyone, for participating. What is my favorite group? I don't know if I have favorites, and at the same time, too, I'm not sure what you mean by group, because groups can be so many things. It's like a classification of just putting things together, and even that is just a dividing of aspects. So you can elaborate on that. Otherwise, I'll wrap things up, because I'm not sure exactly what you meant by that. So I'll give it another moment or so. Otherwise, I'll say thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad my being can express these thought forms, these speech, these words that come into your awareness, your consciousness, and may you carry it forward. Thank you for the love. I'm glad to give love into the world and just be and allow this, because I love doing this. I'm a person that can express these things out, so I'm glad I can participate. And thank you for everyone who has participated as well. So toodaloo, and everyone enjoy your day, evening, wherever you may be. Blessings to all of you. Adios and toodaloo, my loves.